Did you feel when school was more online you'd be more productive? Are you drowning in more work than before the pandemic? Are you thinking why you're more busy now before the pandemic? Is online school the bane of your suffering? Or I might just be the only one. Anyway guys, today I'm going to talk about how online school sabotaged my productivity. Hi guys, my name is Pando. Welcome if you're new to my channel. If you're not new to my channel, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about something that I never thought I'd actually talk about, because I always thought I was a person who was pretty productive and that this sort of issues wouldn't arise. But I have never done online schooling, so it was definitely a new terrain, and I definitely did see my productivity go from here to crash and burn. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the mistakes I made and also some solutions to that if you're also going through the same thing as I am. If not, enjoy the story. I always thought I was productive because, I'd set a goal, I'd work towards that goal, and I'd always achieve it, whether it be academics or whether it be things like my sports life or, health and living. I never really had much of a problem, meeting the goals that I set myself. And I always thought I had a lot of motivation to do what I planned. So when I started online school, I really had the best intentions. Now, if a few months back, I did a video on how to, create study habits, and everything in that video still applies. It's just, I never thought about how to implement a system in order for me to be more productive of online school. I started with the best intentions, but I never completed the plans that I had for myself. I never completed my goals, and I was always behind. Like, when I say behind, I mean like, literally, I was drowning in lectures. And I honestly thought it was so unlike me, and I started to get stressed because I was like, why am I struggling so much? I'm not that kind of person. I don't understand what's going on. And I thought I would be able to schedule how I do my lectures better because everything was already pre-recorded. So I was fully in charge of my timetable, and I thought, I'll be way more productive now that I've got my own life in my own hands. But I still found myself way more behind than I've ever been in the whole time I've been in academia. It was very, very stressful, and it was so debilitating, and I literally lost motivation, and I came to a realization that I had to change what I was doing. So I actually decided to read my first ever productivity book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And oh my goodness, that book opened borders, dams, it just opened up my mind, and it was just a bit of a eureka moment, wow, this is literally how I've been living. He was literally telling it to me, to my face, this is what you've been doing. And I was like, I feel a little bit attacked. But he's so right. So upon reading Atomic Habits, I realized I had no way or system to reach my goals that I had set myself. And so it's no wonder that I wasn't reaching the standard I was used to. And I also noticed I picked up a lot of bad habits while at home. Habits I would never have, started had I been going to uni regularly. I didn't even realize I was picking those habits until I actually started to track my day-to-day habits. There is a quote from his book: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That was the main thing that I learned from that book. That encompassed how I changed the way I view productivity. So I decided to think about what I did, what was my schedule like, what I did so well. So I had to be in bed by a certain time. So I had to be in bed by 11 the latest, because I had to wake up by 6 a.m. the latest to leave the house by 7 a.m. to do that 2-hour commute so I can get to my lectures, which started at 9 a.m. And in that 2-hour commute, in the mornings, I always used to study. I would take out my Anki flashcards and study throughout the journey. So that's 2 hours or an hour and a half of studying done already before my day even started. After morning lectures, so my lectures usually finish at 12 o'clock, I'd go straight to the library. We'd have maybe a 2-hour block. I'd spend maybe half an hour of that, having lunch, chilling with friends. And then I'd spend the next hour and a half doing lecture notes. And then we usually finish our lectures between 3 to 5 o'clock. And I'd go back to the library and do 2 more hours of work, because that was the only time I got to do work. So in total, I'd at least do 3 to 4 hours of solid lecture notes and work in uni. And then I'd go to the gym straight after. On the commute back, I read a book. And so I had 2 hours where I read a book. So imagine, I studied, I managed to do 3 to 4 hours of lecture notes. I went to all of my lectures, I went to the gym, and I read a book 5 days a week. And I thought I had no time. And then going back and recollecting, I realized I was productive because I had no choice. I had so little time. I felt like I had so little time in the day that I had to utilize and make that little time that I had. And then I compared it to online medical school. Honestly, in the beginning, I thought online medical school was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Boy, was I wrong! But after a couple of months of online school, things started to fall by the wayside. I started to make excuses. I'm too tired to do this lecture. I'll do it some other time. I'll just schedule it to next week, you know. And slowly but surely, I started to pick up bad habits. And that's when I realized time is not your friend. Time can be your ally or it can be your enemy, but it's definitely not your friend. So when I read James Clear's book, what he put in there wasn't revolutionary, but it was necessary. He put into words what I was thinking subconsciously and actually made me confront my bad habits and the good habits I had slowly been letting go of. So now I'm going to talk about the bad habits that I picked up since starting online school. I genuinely thought that I wasn't a lazy person. This lockdown and coronavirus has made me realize I am so lazy. I didn't think I'd ever be this lazy in my life. I only realized that when I started studying in bed because, the chair's too far. My bed is literally right next to me and the chair is literally right here. So the first bad habit that I think I picked up ever since online medical school started was going to bed late. As I said before, when I was commuting, I'd go to bed at 11 the latest. But then when I stopped commuting, that 11 would push to 12 a.m. Then 12 a.m. would turn to 2 a.m. Then 2 a.m. would turn to 4 a.m. And so because I slept late, I woke up late because I was so tired. I ended up not doing any work, like do any schoolwork until maybe 10 or 12 p.m. in the afternoon. And I'd missed the morning lectures that would have been live on Microsoft Teams that I have to catch up by watching them later when I could have just watched those lectures then. Because I would only start doing work at 12 p.m, I would only end up doing maybe 4 hours of work. By 4 o'clock, I'm still tired because I didn't get a good night's sleep. So by 4 p.m, my concentration's gone. Then I would watch Netflix until like 12 a.m, then go to bed late again. And it was a cycle. So that was the first bad habit I realized that I picked up. And on the off chance I woke up early, I would give myself an excuse, I woke up a lot earlier than I usually wake up. I'm just gonna watch like one small episode of one tiny anime and just one 25-minute episode. We all know that never happens. And I'd let the episode play, watch the first 25 minutes, and then I'd look at the time. I wanna know what happens next. I'm like, another 25 minutes won't hurt. I'll just start 20 minutes later. And then 40 minutes turns into 2 hours. And that, just like that, 2 hours gone. In those 2 hours, I could have done a lecture, did my flashcards, and did my Notion. And if that happens over a course of a week, that's 7 lectures that could have been done that I now have to push to next week and try and fit it in. And then I feel even more pressured and stressed because my next week is now more packed than it should have been, and I just don't want to do anything. The last bad habit that I really felt propelled me down the spiral of unproductivity was staying in my bed all day. I mentioned this before, but I genuinely stayed in my bed all day. My excuse was the chair that I had. This is a new chair. This is actually a gaming chair that was given to me as a birthday present. Thank you. But I had this really hard spiral chair, but I have back issues, so I couldn't sit on that chair for more than 2 hours. So that propelled me to start doing my work in my bed because it's more comfortable that way. I even bought like a laptop table for my bed. But that led me to staying in my bed pretty much all day. So I'd eat, sleep, and do work in the same area. I had made my place of realization my place of work. And so they got modeled, and there was a blurred line between when I'm working and when I'm relaxing. I was more often than not relaxing, or I wouldn't be able to concentrate on the work that I was doing. I'd, maybe do it for half an hour, then check my phone, or like check my Spotify, check my emails, and then waste another 15 minutes. Then I realized, I haven't finished watching that lecture. I'll go back to the lecture, and then it just went on and on and on. So after reading Atomic Habits, I realized I really had no system, to keep me productive in a space where productivity is quite hard to achieve. Not only that, I was also tutoring. I also had an online job. and obviously doing my work online. So this was a completely new environment and I didn't really know how to adapt to that environment very well, and ended up picking habits I shouldn't have done and dropping all the good habits that I had before. So what are the solutions that I made and solutions that I think you should, pick up as well? Habits matter. They really do matter. Good habits and bad habits. Even though you only started with one thing, the habits will keep compounding and compiling, and before you know it, it's a bad behavior and it has had an adverse effect. And it's the opposite with good habits. If you keep doing one good habit on top of another good habit on top of another good habit, it will make life a lot easier for you and you will see the difference. So the thing that I've done, the thing that I've focused on, because there were a lot of things in these books that you could focus on, but the thing I focused on mostly was to set systems, because I felt like systems were the best way for me to achieve what I want to achieve. The systems that I wanted to implement also included habits that I wanted to have. For example, I didn't want to lay in my bed all day. So what did I do? I made my bed in the morning and made sure that my sister would come and check up on me regularly just to make sure that I wasn't in bed. The next thing I wanted to do is not procrastinate. And how did I stop procrastinating or reduce my procrastination is, once I sat down, I would put my phone on focus mode and put my laptop on focus assist and only have the apps and all of the websites that I needed to study. All of that were blocked until I finished my designated study time. The third habit that I wanted to implement was to wake up on time, wake up at the same time every day. The third habit that I want to implement was to exercise 4 to 5 times a week like I used to. And in order for me to exercise 4 to 5 times a week, I had to wake up early enough to exercise before I started doing my work at 9 a.m. So I decided I would go to sleep early at 11 p.m. latest so I can wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning to exercise during the week. And that is what I've been doing. The next thing I wanted to do was upload a YouTube video once a week. Now, my uploading time has been incredibly sporadic. Exhibits. Yeah, I haven't been a very good YouTuber. So I have an accountability partner. My little sister is my accountability partner. I have to post one video a week, or else I give her £5. And the only times I can't upload is if I'm sick, I've got deadlines, or I've got exams. And the last thing I wanted was to study outside of lecture notes, study for at least 2 hours a day. And how did I do that? I gave myself a certain period of time in the day, which I call protective study hours. And in those times of the day, I have a do not disturb sign, so no one is allowed to disturb me. I literally put all of my distractions in another room, and I put some music on, like piano music, and I just do my Anki flashcards for 2 hours straight. So to conclude, the main thing I think you should do first is to track your habits. Find out what your bad habits are and what your good habits are. If you see it, if you actually track it in person, you can come to terms with how you have been handling your life. The next thing is to think about what you want to achieve, what you want to do. I wanted to exercise 4 to 5 times a week. And I want to stop laying in bed all day and stop procrastinating. It's what do you want to do? So in order to do that, get yourself an accountability partner and make the stakes high. My stakes is giving her £5 a week. £5 is not cheap. The third thing is to start the habits one by one. I can't stress enough, if you try to do them all at the same time, you will get demotivated. So start doing things one by one. And the next thing is to compound habits. Stack the good habits together. The first thing I did was to go to bed at 11 p.m. every night so I can wake up at a certain time in the morning. The next thing I did was to go to bed by 11 p.m. every night and wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning. Then the next thing I decided to do was go to bed 11 p.m., wake up at 7 a.m. and make my bed. And so these habits were compounding. Because I was able to sleep at 11 p.m., I was able to wake up at 7 a.m. And now I have 2 hours between 7 and 9. I decided that was when I was going to exercise. Like, it's been all over the place, but in conclusion, good habits will lead you forward and bad habits will set you back. So discover what your bad habits are. What do you want to change? Like, what's the identity you want to form and how you're going to do it. My main ways that I did is get an accountability partner and start small. And I hope that these little advices will help you in trying to be more productive in online school, because I know it's hard. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. It might have been all over the place, but if you have any more questions or anything you want me to cover, please put it down in the comment section below and I'll try my best to cover it all or answer your questions. And don't forget, please like and subscribe. Keep shining and I'll see you next time. Bye.